let's talk to another perennial contender in the heavyweight division. It's been a while since we talked to Big Country Roy Nelson, and he's joining us on the phone right now. Roy, how are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a while. Good to have you on the program again. So we're talking about 198. It was Saturday night in Curitiba. You were watching, right?
Yeah, it was right after the Bellator fight. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was your friend. What happened with King Mo that night? You watched that fight. King Mo lost to Phil Davis, number one contender. That's a good friend of yours. What happened?
You know what? I think he was just coasting. I think he thought he won the first two rounds and just kind of was just coasting a little bit.
He didn't pull the trigger?
Yeah. Well, Phil Davis is one of those. I guess we'll say not a fighter, but one of those MMA athletes.
So you don't think he engaged?
No, I think he, the point fight, take my pot shots, run, pot shots, run.
Did you train with Mo for this fight?
I did not train Mo for this fight.
So you think that from an outsider perspective, you're watching that, it just, it takes two to tango. Mo showed up to fight, Phil Davis did not.
Phil Davis does Phil Davis. That's how Phil Davis fights. Phil Davis, he's definitely. It's kind of like, for example, it'd be like Stipe. Stipe doesn't fight either. He does the point fighting. Really?
That's interesting. Stipe Miocic, who just knocked out Fabricio Werdum on Saturday. You think he's a point fighter?
Did you not see him run? He actually ran, first he ran, turned his back kind of over him. Like that. It's that new, I don't want to say it's the Greg Jackson, that point fighting thing, where it's not like, I'm an old school fighter. I like fight on the mouthpiece and just, let's just go.
Wow. So fair to say Roy Nelson not impressed with Miocic on Saturday?
No, I was impressed that he, knocked Werdum out because I didn't see that actually coming. But at the same time, when you got, a 240-pound man running at you and you just stick your hand out, you're definitely going to hurt somebody.
Dare I ask, do you think that was a lucky punch?
No, I don't think it was a lucky punch. I just think Werdum wasn't so bright because he was just very stand there, man, just fight.
Right.
He was running at him. He just ran at him. So
we just had Junior Dos Santos on, and he said that he thought that Werdum had the wrong game plan. He should have taken the fight to the ground, not, pardon the pun, fight fire with the firefighter and Stipe Miocic on the feet. Do you agree with that assessment?
No, I think if Werdum just doesn't just played it, I don't want to say safe, but played the point fighting game too. Right. I think he was already outpointing Stipe anyways. So he just was like, you know what, I want to hit him.
Do you think that he had, though, something felt off? He seemed impatient. He just, I don't know. He didn't seem like he was in the best shape. He just seemed like he was not himself. Not the Werdum since coming back to the UFC. You get what I'm saying? You fought him in his return.
I think he was, in a Brazilian crowd of 45,000 people, and you're like, dude, I want to make some things happen. I want to make fireworks.
Yeah.
And when you want to do fireworks for the fans, you want to, put on a show for the fans. You just sometimes you just get a little over anxious,
Did you know that
I know that feeling.
Well, when did that happen? When do you recall that happening to you? Getting sort of.
You know what? It's happened so many times where I'm just like, I just want to just knock this guy's block up. I mean, all I know is Stipe gave me inspiration because if Stipe can be a UFC champion, and they actually gave him a title shot, I was like, oh, I do have a chance.
Yeah, because, it feels like moons ago, but it was just 3 years ago that you fought him at 161, and that was a super interesting fight. Remember that whole thing that your contract was expiring, then they put him in against you, and he was relatively unknown at the time. You were very frustrated after that fight. You felt like he didn't engage, right? So now here you are watching.
He did the point fighting with me too. He ran. You can actually see him. I think that's where the people that are track stars, but. I would love to fight Stipe again, especially now since he is champ with actually a full camp.
So you're sitting at home.
I would love a full camp.
You're sitting at home. You're happy with this result, right? This opened some doors for you.
All it does is give me inspiration that that if Stipe can actually make it to that, to the upper tier of the championship, then I know I can.
Considering you fought him, are you surprised on this Monday, May 16th, 2016, that he's the actual UFC heavyweight champion? Are you surprised that this happened?
No, I'm not surprised. Like, the thing is about anybody in the heavyweight division can be champion any day just because of one punch. That's definitely, I know, like, the top tier, that's just exactly how it is. But what I'm actually, the inspiration that I have is that Stipe actually made it to the championship because it is about politics.
Right, you feel that way.
If he can make it there, then I know I can.
Do you feel like that's been holding you back at this point? Like you should have gotten it a long time ago, but because you don't play the game, you haven't gotten it?
Yeah, I think he just the cards just fell his way, just like, Kane got hurt.
Yeah.
And then Werdum didn't want to fight, and then they're like, okay, well, we're going to make that fight happen anyways. It's just like how Stipe and Ben Rothwell, haven't fought, just because, Stipe was ducking Ben Rothwell for like so long.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just one of those, like, everybody plays that, political game of like, well, I don't want to fight that guy because I'm going to politically try to fight, instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to fight.
But you got to see, I mean, knocking out Arlovsky and then what he did to Mark Hunt, I mean, that was kind of impressive, right?
What he did out last Mark Hunt.
That was a pretty, I mean, I thought that was a pretty one-sided beating.
Yeah, no, because all he did was just take him down and just take him down and take him down. He didn't, put on the show that the fans wanted to see. With Mark Hunt, what do you want to see? People throwing leather.
Sure. So the last time you fought,
it's like going with Mayweather and going, you know what, I'm going to wrestle Mayweather.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. But he's going to run.
Well, you can't really wrestle Mayweather.
Huh?
You can't really wrestle Mayweather because it's boxing. But you mean like just tie him up all the time?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay, now I feel like you've baited me to ask who wins, McGregor or Mayweather?
What are you talking about?
Who wins in a fight?
Boxing?
Yeah, boxing.
Or MMA or what?
Boxing and then MMA. Who's your pick?
MMA, I go Conor. Mayweather, I'll go Mayweather. And then at the end of the day, they're both winners because they're both getting paid.
Yeah. You think this ever happens?
Actually, from what I saw, like I read an article. I forgot which article it was, but it was actually a pretty good article because it has, if you become a boxer and then you all of a sudden get the Muhammad Ali Act behind you.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, it changes the whole gambit of making things illegal and legal and what's not legal, and it's pretty interesting.
How many fights do you have left on your contract, Roy?
Oh, a few.
A few?
Yeah.
Is that more than 3?
I think it's 3 or 4.
3 or 4. So you got a few more to go. Are you happy?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely happy. I definitely would be happier.
What would make you happier?
You know what? Just right now, what would make me happy is, just right now I'm focused on Derrick. After I get past Derrick, then just, keep on moving up the ranks and then hopefully, get that title shot just because, what I saw Stipe do. Because I can do that all day.
Mm-hmm.
You run at me, I'm going to punch you too. But nobody runs at me. They run away.
Do you like this Lewis fight? Like, do you feel like, considering what happened in the Rochald fight and how frustrating that was for you, do you think that, all right, this is a guy that's going to engage, he's knocking people out, he's a scary man, those celebrations are, something that you don't want to dream about. Do you like this? Are you excited about this fight?
No, it's like nothing to take away from Jared. Jared is a UFC athlete. Was a UFC athlete. He was an MMA athlete. He was a MMA fighter / athlete. He's one of that new breed.
Yeah.
And nothing to he's good at what he does because he beat Stefan Struve. Like he's a guy that can beat a lot of guys. But like for me, it's just I'm an old school guy, and but after rewatching my fight with Jared, I did everything that I was supposed to do.
Sure, and you won the fight.
So it was like I guess what do you got? What do the fans call it? Fighter IQ.
Yeah,
and like the perfect fighter IQ of 160.
Is that perfect score 160?
I don't know. I just know that I think that's genius is 160.
Were you surprised that the UFC released Jared Rosholt after that fight?
Surprised, yes, but not. But it's all about still putting butts in the seats and putting on a. And we definitely still entertainment. That's the one thing that I think a lot of fighters forget is it's not about just winning. That's why I think sometimes our fighter pay should change because it's not about winning or losing. It's about putting butts in the seats and putting on a show.
Roy Nelson puts butts in the seats.
That is true. That's what I love fighting in, we'll say, New York, because when I fight in New Jersey, I know I get the the home crowd behind me.
Really?
Because that's technically not New York, but it's literally over the bridge.
Right. But why are you do you have ties to this area?
Yeah, I'm American.
Okay. What did you make?
What's nothing than all American in New York?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. But if you're fighting,
exactly. I mean, it's a big melting pot, but that's where the American dream starts.
That's true. That's true. I know it better than anyone. So Lewis, have you been impressed with him, and in particular his last win over Gabriel Gonzaga? Like, what do you make of this guy?
Yeah, the one thing about Derrick is he reminds me of like a bigger version of Fedor. Like when he gets that ground and pound going, he loves to he'll just beat you up. And then the one thing he's just he's calm, cool, collected. If you do take him down, and then he just muscles back up, and then he puts the the wrath on. The one thing I like is that he comes to fight, and he's that's what makes him fan friendly.
Yeah, what do you make of those celebrations when he like bangs the mat with his body and all that stuff? It's pretty frightening.
If you're the mat.
Do you like being a part of this big weekend in Las Vegas? You're the first card, the Fight Pass card, but it's just a whole big celebration of MMA. Do you like that?
Yeah, no, I was just hoping that I was going to be the Fight Pass headliner. That was about it. But then
title fight.
You get what you get when you ask for to be on Fight Pass.
Did you ask to be on Fight Pass?
I did.
Why?
Because it was Thursday.
You want the Thursday card?
My weekend to myself.
Right. And they're really pushing Fight Pass. You can make the case that they're pushing the Fight Pass cards more than the FS1 cards these days.
That's because they make more money that way.
That's true. Smart. The FS1 cards are paid for already, right?
Exactly. And every time that I get on a Fight Pass card, the subscription rates go up.
Is this your first time on Fight Pass?
No.
Josh Barnett?
No, first one was when I knocked out Big Nog.
Oh yeah! Wow. Speaking of wow, that was in Abu Dhabi 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago.
Huh? Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah. Years of April.
Did you hear that Big Nog is going into the Hall of Fame?
Good for him.
Do you feel like it's warranted?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame that that probably shouldn't be if Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no way. This is a different sport. That doesn't answer the question. Do you think...
Sure it does.
What do you mean? Pete Rose, that's baseball.
Pete Rose should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I agree.
I'm just... And if there's things holding them back in that, then there's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame in the UFC that probably shouldn't be if you're talking about, like,
strange.
If you got a higher morality, I guess, for the sport.
Right. So you think it's well deserved?
Yeah.
What if Miocic fights Overeem next? 2 wins.
You know what? I think that's definitely a it's an interesting fight because they both play tag now.
Who do you respect as far as like fighting? Comes to fight, brings it, doesn't go backwards in the heavyweight division. Who do you?
It's not even about going backwards. I don't care if you go backwards as long as you going backwards for a reason. Not like when I fought Overeem, I actually timed it. It's like 3.6 seconds where he actually has his back running for me like a track star.
Wow. But is there anyone in that division right now that you're like, all right, I respect the way this guy fights?
There's definitely a few people like Derrick comes to fight.
Okay.
You got. Mark Hunt comes to fight. Junior Dos Santos is definitely going to try to box you. He's going to come to fight. Kane will come to fight. He'll push the. There's definitely guys that will try to go forward and and actually try to fight you and try to put on. That's why, fans like those people.
Yeah.
Then there's fans that don't like a lot of certain people just because of their stylistic of how they fight now.
One fight that I've always wanted to see, you versus Cain Velasquez.
Maybe when he's champ.
Yeah, well, you're fighting at the same time, He's fighting a couple days after you. So maybe...
Yeah, they're going to make him, he'll beat Brown, and then he'll probably fight for the belt.
You think so? You don't think Overeem's going to get it?
I think Overeem will probably get it. I think they'll probably make that fight happen as fast as possible.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to let the how like most champs when they get the belt, they kind of go, "Whoo,
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to enjoy this for like." I think they're going to do what they did to what's the 115-pounder Carla
Esparza.
When Carla got it, it's like literally. I think it was like two months later.
Yeah, it was actually 3 months to be exact. But yes, it was a very quick turnaround against Joanna.
Something like that. I think that will happen. So whatever. So I think Alistair will probably fight for the belt like in, we'll say, like August or September.
You get by Derrick Lewis as you're expecting to. What do you think makes sense after that?
If Stipe has the belt, it's Stipe.
Oh.
I just like a whole, just because I think the UFC owes it to me to give me a full camp to beat him up.
They do.
But I'm not worried about that right now, so all I care about is Derrick.
You guys met in when was it? 196? Like, you shook hands. It looked like the fight was happening, and then they gave him another fight against Gonzaga.
Yeah, no. See, what happened was he was talking a lot of crap and saying that he was going to beat me up, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, I love guys that call me out.
Right.
And so when he called me out, I had to make sure I saw Dana and said, Dana, that's the guy that wants to fight me. Let's make this happen.
And then you shook hands, right? It looked like everyone was in.
Yeah, I was just letting him know that, like, hey, this is a deal, right? You want to fight me? I want to fight you. Let's go. Let's make this happen.
And then they gave him another fight. Were you worried you were going to lose your fight?
I was a little bit. I was just a little bit.
Were you rooting for him against Gonzaga?
No, I was actually, because I thought Gonzaga was actually going to take him down and beat him up.
Didn't happen.
It did happen, and then
right.
The ref, so whoever's the ref got to make sure that the ref's not, on Derrick's side of like, let's stop this, this MMA fight. Let's do this boxing thing.
Shades of you versus Arlovsky.
Yeah, no, yeah. That was actually way more worse.
Yes, it was. One of the worst of all time. Okay, before I let you go, Roy, I want to ask you this very important question. Tell me about Hog Car Tours.
Hog Car Tours? Oh, it's a new tour company here in Vegas that takes you to the beautiful Las Vegas sites and the best eateries in Las Vegas that I handpicked out.
Wow, so you're actually doing the tours?
I've been on a couple tours. I sometimes I'll jump in just for quality control.
So this is a great thing that fans could do if they're coming to Las Vegas. They want something to do. They can be on a tour with the great big country himself. Where can people find out more about this?
Of course, you can always follow me on Twitter,
yes.
Roy Nelson MMA, and Facebook, Roy Nelson UFC. But it's really simple. It's hogcartours.com.
Okay. I recommend it.
Or those Twitter handles, or Instagram, or Facebook.
Okay, great. I want to do it when I go there.
I got a spot for you.
My man. Thank you, Roy. I appreciate it. Always great to talk to you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
All right, there he is, Roy Nelson, one of the top contenders in the UFC's heavyweight division, back in action on July 7th in Las Vegas, part of that big international fight week.